That's the second match against Mouse.
Oh, I see what you did there. But I mean, you know what? Imperial up against Ninjas in Pajamas, when you realize that they have just been slotted in, you know, this is the head-to-head VP would have had. It's going to be interesting for Imperial. It's certainly not going to be a walk in the park.
Especially hearing, you know, they were practically on vacation. Right. So the odds here from 1xBet definitely favoring NiP, and you can understand so, as it will be 3 through the Palace position. Vinny with that util limped out, and Fallen and Vinny congregating towards ramp here. Lexi's going to call that, but that is... a deep stairs smoke makes it difficult for him to assist.
That's very cool. Brollan does need one on the Julies and handles it very well to start off proceedings. Coming through the smoke, disrespected by the Brollan Julie.
Just the fact that it's the two of them, that seemed way too easy. The isolation smokes that they drop towards stairs and the drop down. Alexi disrespects it, comes on through. Brollan making the distraction with the Julies, and that's going to be the pissed around to NiP. Now, look, there's a reason that I think the Ninjas probably wanted to get this one to Mirage. Is you take a look at Imperial, and you heard from Peacemaker, don't play Brazilians on Mirage, sure. But these Brazilians, since Joda have joined, have only played other Brazilians. Now, if I'm NiP, that's going to fill me with some confidence. It's like, well, if they're only playing domestic opponents, maybe we can take them down.
Also, maybe they probably haven't seen setups like ours or executes like ours before. It's going to be interesting to see how Imperial handle this one. I say this one referring to the map, not this round. This one, however, is going to be some Glocks and, I mean, a dream.
Yeah, definitely a dream.
We might see, I reckon, action in, let's call it, 30 seconds.
Did we ever come up with a name for rounds like this? I wanted to call them the Milkman. The Milkman normally delivers milk.
Chad, bear with me, right? I'm feeling the creative juices are flowing.
Already?
Yeah. What do you reckon? We call this kind of round an eco.
The shakedown.
Shakedown's not bad. No, yeah. I mean, they are shaking them down for their util, right? That's what you're going for?
But they're going to call the left-right good night.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I mean, at this point in time, it's just Config and Rez who have basically been let off the leash.
Why don't we do this? Why don't I paint a beautiful picture here, like Bob Ross?
Okay.
We can talk about the CT setup that we can expect for NiP on Mirage going forward. It is going to be Brollan, as you can see right here. He will be the A anchor. You're going to have over towards the connected position, Mr. R Easy. Config over towards short. Headtrick as the AWPer, traditionally window. He can be ticket. He can be over towards B. He can be everywhere. That's the luxury of being an AWPer. And then Alexi B over towards the B bomb site. Now, there's the man on the screen, and it will just be a quick little technical issue called. As I can see here, Config says it's just a mic issue. So they're usually some of the bigger teething issues we have once we get these things underway.
Worth talking about
many dramas.
NiP form as well, of course the desk has already touched on it, but with Headtrick at the tip of their tongue as well, you can see how happy he was to be securing a spot at the major. The tickets? Stickers in-game. It's going to be a very good feeling for them. And managing to take scalps, you know, such as Big Clan Astralis, both in best of threes. It was very nice. That is
Look at this stash.
Quality mustache.
Now, is there gel here to get the upturn? There has to be something. I really feel that he couldn't do that natural. I think there might have to be. If we could get a zoom in on the admin's stash here, the Headtrick, you know, he's got nice. Here we go. That's what we're looking for.
I mean, for sure there is a product involved.
Has to be.
It's well maintained, and also I've considered this look before. Like
it is brave.
I mean, yeah, absolutely, but it is also, it's not something I have the capacity to pull off because you have to grow up the bibbly. Yeah,
but you could.
Yeah, maybe.
Your facial hairs.
When I'm doing the you know, when I'm in my kind of hipster arc.
Okay.
You know, like let's imagine I have like a single speed bike.
So we've got villain arcs, we've got hipster arcs.
Yes, my hipster arc. All right. I think then I could pull it off. You know, maybe I'll be wearing one of those little kind of sailor hats.
Okay.
Whatever those cool dudes
What about those small fisherman beanies?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Like a kind of skull cap, but for hipsters.
All right, I like it. I want to talk a little bit about this NiP team that we see on our screen right here, because we don't get to the desk anymore, so we can kind of do our own impromptu desk right now.
Okay.
This NiP team, if anybody is still left at the start of the year, right, thinking, and I'm not even going to mention player names, even one of our favorite players, the Doctor, we won't even bring his name into the conversation because I think it has to be clear, it has to be said, again, it needs to be reinforced that any preconceived ideas about NiP need to change. This is an entire new roster, it's an entire new team, it's an entire new direction for NiP now being international, right? I know that there's mainly Nords in the squad right here, but it is an international team right now. Speaking in English, you've got the residue of Swedish Counter-Strike Brollan and Rez on your screen right here, down the tail end. Alexi, the poster boy for the Finns, right? And then you bring in Config, who beating Astralis at that RMR must have felt so bloody good.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's it, isn't it? There's just so many lovely layers of the human component that is Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike is human. I'm not going to get on my soapbox just yet, but you know, one of those things for sure for Config, knowing that he had it kind of justifies your decisions. You know, you don't get that much in life where you just kind of you have a straight up binary, I made the right choice.
And it puts questions into Astralis' decisions, which we've seen the remnants of that starting to unfold today, with Astralis putting out some news here about them adding a 6-man up from the Academy roster. So which the Academy roster for Astralis has actually been best of the Astralis talent. I believe their cold has been performing quite nicely. So yeah, there's going to be a bit of changing going on over in the Danish side of things. Config letting us know that there might be a bit of a headset hot swap here, so this might take a couple of extra minuten.
And that's a nice, that's a courtesy he's given to Imperial, because also, we're talking about this human stuff. It is kind of an extra level of patience required when you've just started. It's a best of one. Don't forget, you've probably had maybe 2 to 3 hours where you've been psyching yourself up, like first match, big event. You've got an opponent you've been preparing for. You've talked yourself into this kind of game state, flow state, ready for the game. You have a pistol that does nothing, achieves nothing.
Yeah, a Glock Eco.
A Glock Eco, and now you sit here and you can't even communicate with your team. You're just all sitting there in silence, and you're trying to stay in exactly the same headspace you were in when this started. But
this is one of the keys, and Trace Saranthus, our good friend, he knows very much about this, the hurry up and wait, right? You need to be okay with that level of mentality. Hey, look, this is completely out of my control. I have no idea what's going on. Let's just chill out, like Vinny does. Because you remember back in the Furia days, when we would watch Vinny when he was in the team, the entire team would sit there, eyes closed, meditating. Right. Gary would be walking behind them.
Furia do that now.
Yeah, and look, practicing some mindfulness, very important here, and maybe practicing a bit of mindfulness with this NiP team as well. I was talking to Trolls, doing the mental side of things over there for NiP, just before we came up here to start casting, and I heard what he's been helping the team with, how he's trying to solve some of the issues they had, and you can understand that with the NiP of old, they were kind of just plugging holes in a boat, right? It was like, this doesn't work, let's try to do this, or this player's not feeling well, when they were supporting the players in the team. I understand that completely. But this is now, they've ripped off the Band-Aid, and they're starting somewhat afresh, right? And with this, you need a mental reset. You need to get everybody on the same page. The culture's different. They're all good players. That's not even the question about NiP. It's about getting them understanding and the smiles on the faces right here. Because if the mental can turn around, then they can continue on this trajectory, which is now back on the up. They dropped out of the top 20 on HLTV World Rankings, right? And that, for the organization, an org like NiP, how historic they are in Counter-Strike, there is pressure from the top coming down. And I'm sure these players feel it.
Yeah, I mean, this is an event, a real opportunity for them to make an impact, make a splash, and it looks like we're ready to see if that continues in a positive direction for NiP into round 3. On the T side is Imperial, a last-minute addition, stepping in, and of course the hometown heroes looking to battle forward to meet the local crowd.
Look at this here. There's no B presence right now from NiP. Everybody playing either towards middle or Config, the only defender over towards A here. So this is very heavy. They don't want to allow Imperial to start conditioning with standard mid defaults. What they've done is they've hedged their bets, thought it would be a mid take with a bit of pace. That's not the case. There's the cat smoke, sure, that's faded now. But Imperial are taking this very, very slow. Bolts flash forward, won't find a lot. It's Rez partnered up with Config under the balcony. So this setup now has transitioned away from mid-heavy to worrying a bit more about the extremities.
Yeah, seeing what Vinny's finding on his adventures towards B. He's just trying to see if he can get any sort of traction going safely. Keeping the feelers out, and Fallen seems to be getting his troops set up for that mid-clear late. Going to be going for a run boost and flash to follow.
It's diligent, sure, but there's no concern. So they're out there across the bomb top mid. We're already at that 50-second mark, and they will need to start turning the screws here shortly. A connector smoke will land, and on both sides here. So Brollan gets to decide, if he can block it, he could manufacture a bit of a gap here, and he will.
Oh, okay. Doesn't quite work out for Brollan. But still, with 30 seconds, I would be starting to get a little apprehensive.
Has to be an A split. Rez's close ramp. He can deal with bolts. Config's here as well.
I think the first engagement really hinges on either chelo pushing this smoke or, oh, they smoke him off. Bolts locked out. 19 seconds. May have heard the step. Now the first fight comes through. Big one out of Vinny. Needs more. SMGs, though, not at that range. Config still delivers one, and it's a nice second from chelo.
They can't deny the plant here. Foreign will get this down. Oh!
Oh, he had a chance. Whoa, 1 second off. Headtrick could have won the round right there, but there's still grounds. You're not clearing Jota. You're just not. And out he goes into the line of fire. A nice headshot to close, and chelo, the one to get that bomb down and secure that round. 2 important kills there on the way into the A site.
Almost to say my words, Hedrick almost won the round right there.
Yeah.
If that was Fallen that went down instead of chelo, maybe there was no time to plant that
Human
bomb.
shield, get down, Mr.
Yeah,
President.
but right there, to be able to pull off such a slow round from Imperial, that's probably a very good confidence booster. But to be fair, there wasn't too many jarring moments in that round to stall them out. Sure, you had that late A ramp smoke, Brollan dropping one of his own, but Imperial had to finish. And NiP with those, well, bonus weapons of the MP9s will lose the initial gun round here and immediately take a tactical timeout. So DGL wants to get ahead of this here.
Yeah, I just want to correct myself as well. Calling chelo and crediting chelo for 2. It was that Vinny opening that I'd attributed to chelo, but he did find the one. In fact, it was a team ace. Every single member of Imperial finding their first frag in that round. And it puts the first one on the board nice and early. It stops the NiP coffers from swelling. We're going to be seeing some more investments. Chad, what is the current like weather report on the M4 usage? Are we seeing the majority still lean for the cheaper gun?
Yeah, and I'm not, look, I don't want to say I'm not completely sold here. I think that there's certain scenarios where you see the A1 let players down. Maybe if they had the A4,
Sure.
but that's the thing. It's personal preference, and that is one of the biggest issues with Counter-Strike. I could sit here and argue and tell you why 1920 is better than Black Bars, but when Nico uses, stretched res of 4x, what am I meant to say? You know what I mean? So it's the same with this rifle preference here.
Okay. Looks like Hedrick got that information and it's deterred Vinny. Fallen teaching us a nice ramp flash safe.
But it's the same setup here, right? So they went for their mid control. They just threw that cat smoke. They throw the Molotov towards connector, and now they drop back and congregate as a bit of a crew right here. It is Vinny the tail of this who is defaulting over towards B. He can either lurk late mid or join the A attack, and we'll check this one out. It's going to be 3 through the palace position once more.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be nervous just and apprehensive in the sense that a smoke can really slow this down. They've got plenty more for the CTs. 4 CTs with smokes. That choke point could be, but it's all about this element of surprise. Fallen's throwing this util first, and Bolt's just walking out! Brollan unprepared, another big opening for Imperial.
Okay, well, they're in, and maybe a save call starting to be considered here. Smoked off, res tucked in connector, config rotating around.
He's having a look.
M4, and if he can find a fight, well, there was a flash. That's a great shot from Bolt to double up for him in round number 4, and that should be it. Call it off, throw in the white flag, save these guns at NiP. There's no way back in a 3-on-5 right now without a kit.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Bolt. Lovely work out of Palace. And I mean, if you were trying to kind of explain as to why Brollan's caught off by that, is it because of the nature of what Fallen was throwing from ramp side? It's like, it feels like it's one dude.
I hate being a anchor. I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah.
Because if you're left as playing retake ticket, you have to watch ramp and palace.
Yeah, and you straight up can't do both without sticking out like a sore thumb.
And you could see him get caught off by that timing there, right? So that's one of the more frustrating bits and bobs. That's why you see, look, there's nothing wrong with the chasing here. Okay, they might take away a couple more rifles. Hold on, chelo with the moves and the spam too. The damage done. Will he find the frag? Doesn't want to commit too far, but we'll go down to Alexi and can't get his hands on that AK. So we'll carry through the FAMAS. But yeah, being an A anchor, it's never a fun role, I'll be honest. But that's why you have a skilled player like Brollan at that site. But that is a really nice shot from Bolt, especially with that second follow through on a config as well. So 2 heavy hitters down.
And even the best players in the world get timed. That's kind of how Counter-Strike matches work.
Yeah, and I'm sure they swear about it too. So don't worry, it's not just you guys at home.
Okay, well, you've got 2 saved rifles. Alexi B would have loved to have had that AK, but chelo timing it very well on that hunt.
But look at this punish, right? They've done openings towards mid every round. Now they're going to have a follow-through because they know it's likely that weaker buy. So they have so much control,
lovely.
And Vinny up and over off that top road. Not clearing his corners. Dinked down. Config gets away with it.
That's something. Shouldn't really spiral. Imperial still got a firm grip on this round, but certainly a nice one back from the Dane. Clear ladder. Hedrick to reposition, doesn't want to succumb to any of these speculative sprays.
Gotta be careful here. Remember, those save rifles are still in.
Oh.
Don't have to be careful. You don't have to be careful at all.
That's...
Just shoot him through the smoke.
Yeah, the easiest way to do it. And it will look to fall into place unless this boost does profit for another rifle.
Fading.
Yeah. You're going to be sticking out. Chelo's in a nice, strong position. Jota should have them both there. A very satisfying double ahead of him as that smoke fades, unless Alexi B's quick on the trigger. Yeah, gets it off the info. And they get away.
They're just dawdling around in connector right here. You'd think with this info, they'd start to make their way in towards this A site. Bolts were with the bomb. Chelo defending, and Alexi gone now. Rez wants that rifle. He will get it, but won't hit the shot. And Chelo with more information here. So
I can chalk. What do you chalk that one up as in terms of NiP? You know, like if you were giving that one a thumbs up, a double thumbs up, you had 2 save rifles, you got 2 kills, and you're saving 2 rifles.
Yeah, I think here if they can turn this FAMAS into a secondary AK, then you're happy with it. Still, a little bit of damage is good. You don't want them to be getting away with freebies, and there it is, that upgrade coming on through. Chelo's going to try and sniff this one out.
I have to admit, I'm quite a fan of what Chelo's done with his AK-47.
You like the stickers?
I think the man clearly has the eye. You know, look at this glove-knife pairing. Beautiful. A sapphire.
What shade of purple is that?
Good question. I think it's more like in the violet range, perhaps.
All right. Is there such thing as a royal purple?
I believe there is. You know, purple was one of the most expensive dyes back in the day, so that's why all the royals had purple cloaks, because it cost a ton.
All right, a pretty penny.
Yeah, check this one out. That was a really nice move from Vinny, and that was perfect, because as he was doing that, Chad, you were talking about the liberties they're going to take, knowing there was a lack of weaponry. And
I know this is just against a lighter buy or 2 save guns and an eco primarily here, but that conditioning now. So you think about these rounds from Imperial. Cat smoke, mid-molly, now there's the follow-through. So the first 2 were just, yeah, we'll do this, and we'll wait and see what you do. Now we followed through. So you're conditioned to the fact that we can try and take this mid-control, and it looks like they wanted to show a little bit of leg, but again, just dumping a lot of utility heavy towards connector to imply this mid-play, quickly rerouting together back towards for a bit more of a decisive finish. And they could just finish towards A once more. Brollan tucked in under the balcony, head trick rotating around, still no AWP in his hands. Rez over towards the jungle position. And plenty of util for this A execute available for the Brazilians here. This would be a great round to win.
Brollan handled business for the first time they tried to flood his site. Bolt's bested upon the second. This, his third opportunity as that A anchor, has plenty of support as well. So many smokes around. Extinguish reveals his position. Still can't finish off Vinny. A nice one dink to the dome, but Vinny lives on. Strafes over. Good spray. Head trick 1. And fall in a second. Nice kills. Rez as well on the way back in. Bolt loses control of jungle and puts it all onto chelo. Nice damage on the first spray. Head trick brought down. Chelo doing a lot, but Config from behind should have this one. A nice clean headshot from the Dane puts Jota locked in. Flames arrive, and so does the round for NiP.
Yeah, good stuff right there. And it was the unknown piece of head trick was the difference maker. Look, it was a little bit shaky, but he still gets 2.
Got it done.
It doesn't have to be pretty. He had his impact right there, and they will draw things back into a level score of 3-3. So NiP, they do finally break that streak.
Look how many smokes. I mean, this is by design, right? What, as an A anchor, like, your options were very limited. The fact that Headtrick did manage to be that unknown entity, managed to use those smokes to his advantage.
That's a very old execute.
Yeah.
We used to call that execute very good.
Put a date on it.
I used to run that back in 2014. There was maybe one smoke a little bit different there, but by creating that wall, we used to do that a lot, and it was to more guarantee the plant. To be honest, it wasn't. In modern Counter-Strike, with the way that goes, I think it's good as a gimmick.
It's a heavy investment, right?
That's a volley. Maybe they wanted the push. Okay. Well, either way, they will withstand that first fight, and they can whittle them down here, but chelo knows he needs to make some room. We'll take down Config. The fights are going down everywhere.
chelo's really sharp. We got off on the right side of the bed today.
Well, the round has to completely change. The bomb's down towards T-spawn. Bolts has to get back and grab this. Chelo and Fallen now on a bit of an island towards window. They have a lot of room to work with. NiP know that that space is given up sure. They have the number advantage. They have the util advantage. And they're sitting pretty here as Brollan has taken a whole lot of liberties. Now, with Brollan's position, if he stays... Oh, he's going to get a chance against Bolts here.
Wow, Brollan, this is all him. 3 from the Swede.
Look, I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting him to get that much early action. I was just saying this is a key position because if they do play more through mid, when you go in towards A from jungle and connector, Brollan's position up towards Palace is quite difficult to clear when in combination with Rez over towards Ticket.
Right.
So if
there you go. That's I mean, they finally fell him, but it's not going to really lead to much. With chelo, no smoke, and Fallen already tagged, this does get difficult. Hoping that perhaps chelo can retrieve... There's 2 smokes actually on ramp from that early aggress. They might be able to piece a round out of this. They've still got 30 seconds, and it is a passive hold. I mean, there's a perfect example. Thank you, Rushley. Passive hold. Alexi B just staring at the window to transition. Headtrick is in the lower tunnel, and we've got ourselves some action. The smokes have been recovered. Fallen will start dumping util, trying to set chelo up for the final flourish. 13 seconds, though. Fallen wants to plant, needs chelo to cover. He might get it down, okay. Round extended, problems now, and it does. Nice. Fall into place for NiP without too much sweat on the brow. And Brollan would have liked to see that go that way. After finding 3 high-impact frags, it did look like chelo was at least able to make it a bit more competitive. A bomb plant's nice, get some extra cash for the Brazilian roster, but still doesn't look like enough to have a full AK round.
I'm curious with that setup if they had missed this molly or if they were going to push, because the way that Brollan was pathing their knife out, it looked like they wanted to go and fight, and the molly's more just like that sound cue to... Because your A defaulter is either going to be ramp or palace. He can't be both. And unless they were doing something A heavy, it was actually quite an interesting approach. They went fast through mid as well as had 2 guys come up and fight A ramp. So curious one there from Imperial, and well, they will suffer the consequences now. chelo, yeah. That's a great little combo right there. They naded in towards that molly. So prepared for exactly that type of a move. Good stuff from NiP.
Yeah, stopped in his tracks twice, and that was the full investment as well. chelo just wanting to try and be the hero, make the space, and of course, once you get that opening, things can spiral. A Tech-9, a Deagle, flood the site, you take that space, and it's only gravy from there. That's a very good nade, straight down the gullet of Vinny. Forces the AK into someone else's hands. Unfortunately, Bolt's equipped with the Kevlar. Going to try his luck again, but Headtrick's posted. He's already found it with the flames, and now a chance with the Zoom banger. Knocks one into Bolts, straight to the funny bone. Don't think Bolts is laughing.
Bit of airtime there from Mr. Headtrick.
Not too shabby.
Another one of these little geeks just nerding out on every little clipping that exists in the history of Counter-Strike. We'll see how that goes when we make it to CS2.
Yes, we will.
The relearning process is going to be a bit of a fun one here. And just going to pick them apart one at a time here. Peter, he has been out for some time, and so will Imperial. So a 2-round lead now. Double AWPs. Double AWPs, all right. Well, this is one of the keys with config, right? When I look...
Bang.
Yeah, you're screwed, mate.
Just, I mean, we all know how it feels, right? You just get put in sludge, and never mind sludge, but we're talking like radioactive. You're slow, you're burning. Nasty. A nasty way to go. And of course, I mean, I understand the thought process there from chelo. You can see it. He gets the spawn. He's feeling hot. He's hitting heads. And they just tried to do the ramp exploit speed. And then you're hoping your defenders are going to be operating under the assumption that's not going to be something you try immediately after, especially on a low buy.
Well, that's the mind games and a lot of these little jewels here that you're looking for. And it's just, it's hard to put much magic in Imperial other than the fact we're in their home country, right? Because when you hear from Banks and them talking about we were on vacation, you know, we were taking a couple of weeks off, because it's gutting to not make the major. We know that. We've definitely had that conversation, and we will be continuing to have that when different names enter the server throughout this event. But for them to get to, I think for Furia maybe a little bit more so than Imperial, because they're a contender at the moment in World Counter-Strike. But this event has so much importance behind it because it is in your home country. Now, we're going to see a bit of a mid presence from Rez here. Be flashed forward, and you can see again.
I just want to build upon that. It's not only of the, they on vacation got the last minute, you know, you up text, but they've only played 5 games against EU opponents. This is their 6th game against the European team.
Right, I mean, and that's what happens. When you're not the top of the pops in your country, it's difficult to be in the top of the pops as far as World Counter-Strike is concerned. We'll return again. This roster of Imperial have not played a European opponent, and, well, Headtrick forward. That's the bomb. Early call gets away. Brollan here. Oh, well, these guys are looking shook.
Yeah, with that bomb lost. Headtrick's happy to stick around as well. That's just a sign of confidence, sign of the times, with already 2 casualties for Imperial. It feels like this is becoming a bit of a recurring theme. That's clean. Headtrick gets himself a second, and the AWP's rattling off. The double AWP revealed as Config now just roaming around and looking to have some fun with it. A good alpha angle. Bolts catches Headtrick with his eye on the scope. Shouldn't be anything more to be said about this one.
I like the flash, sure, but...
Ooh, I would have liked that double Galil to the dome of Config, but an AWP certainly a little easier for the task. Config's posted up, and yeah, not going to be fun for Bolts at all. In fact, here he goes.
Hello, Governor.
Knife? You're not a knifer. Rez is not. Oh, you are. The audacity.
Are easy for Mr. Rez right there, and we'll keep growing in this scoreboard for NiP. Lovely stuff. Handling business. That's a gunny right there that's just gone down the gurgler for poor Imperial.
It's always a very good sign of life from a team when an AWPer takes his first aggressive foray in a best of one especially, and it is rewarded, because he's going to start feeling a little bit more inclined to throw that into the mix over time. Look at the smiles.
And Headtrick's not necessarily that type of AWPer either. So if he starts finding a little bit of traction, It's interesting we haven't seen too much B pressure out of Imperial, considering that's where Alexi B's holding. They've tried to play through mid, they've tried to play in towards A a lot more, and right now this is very loud. Brollan caught off guard. We'll drop the smoke, and there you go, fouled out.
The perfect insta-pop smoke. I reckon he could have been a bit more under pressure. And talking of pressure, that's a huge catch. Head trick, smile wiped off of his face as a long-range Tech 9 catching that timing. Bolts, I mean, he's been playing Palace for years. The man knows how to find that timing. He's got that sixth sense.
Well, we're talking about B, and well, the B at the end of Alexi B's name is about to be
Oh,
tested
dear.
here. Another Tech 9 with a frag. Config needs to find something, and on the jump,
Spotted.
can't find the hand.
Nice wallbang tag.
They should pressure him. They know it's an AWP.
Oh, and now they know Rez is under as well.
They're going to rotate away. This one's going to get dicey now. They've been locked out.
They got time, but still getting a bit stressful now. Rez is boxed in, smokes himself for survival. Another one posted. Rez does catch chelo in mid. That is his exit path now. And talking of exit, they're on their way back to spawn.
Well, they know where both players are, right? They know Config's AWP was over towards B, and they know that Rez was locked out towards Underpass, but Config has enough time to rotate towards Ticket here.
Oh, Vinny. Vinny versus Rez is a big head-to-head as to how competitive this round can be for the Ninjas. Nope, knife out. Rez not ready. Oof, clean one from Vinny. And this, just a conservative half buy, and now Config trying to recover. A 1 versus 4 on his AWP. Opts for head tricks instead. That looked like it was bang on the money, just a little too thick.
He's pinned. He has to go for it. Vinny's got the door locked behind him here, so Config may as well fight, but he doesn't know it. 3 shots left.
Maybe you could do some housekeeping. Just start chucking things as far as you can. Because otherwise all those AWPs, or at least one of them, is going to find its way into enemy hands. He's playing it as smart as he can. Knows the pressure's from behind, and there he goes. Wow, an incredible conversion for Imperial. And that will inject not only cash, not only a round, but also a lot of momentum.
Oh, maybe a little bit of a boo-boo here. I understand they want to get their hands into whatever guns they can as upgrades, but they've carried 2 AWPs across. Now, one's fine. This is a great shot from chelo here. Actually, round to find him, because if Brollan gets that kill, I don't think they have as much freedom. It puts less pressure on Rez. He's able to likely get away or stay towards that underpass position, maybe make a different play. So, good impact from chelo, but it has to be said that Bolts, again, with the opening through the Palace, onto... Oh, who was over? It was Head Trick this time, right? He was here, the AWP. So, he's found Brollan and Head Trick now. And they've been key frags in opening up a couple of these rounds now for Imperial. It's going to be a boost over towards short here. Headtrix, AWP, B. And not a whole lot of mid presence in terms of searching for info. They're hoping to find them on the default crawl. And this is more of what we've seen from Imperial. You know, these default spreads.
Wow. Alexi B's got very strong toes. Just on his tippies. Holding the angle. Nice one's coming their way. Going through their flowchart for mid.
Didn't quite stick the landing on that one, but, you know, the idea was there. Double AWPs. This is either going to go great for Imperial or very poorly here.
I mean, the angle from Alexi is going to be great because, yeah, that's going to happen. That's
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's really geeky.
Look up, bud.
And then as soon as they round the corner, willy-nilly, I would imagine with, Vinny, perfect, down and out. Good trade from Fallen. Will he expect another? Molly might be safe yet. Not ready, back turned, and a good frag from Config.
That's so cheeky.
Setup, profits. And that's, ooh, a chance. Those AWPs could have connected. chelo gives it a good go. A wide swing straight out of the connector. Some combat AWPing, but lets it slip. Bolts trying to pressure Rez. He lets him know, I'm not scared. And then back turned. Another 2 in the feed from Imperial.
How is this
Bombs in
falling
mid.
apart?
Config should save him. Config does. Puts the bomb on the floor. With 10 seconds left, there's no time to plant. They just need the frags. And this is a 7th round for NiP.
Okay, that got dicey for a moment, didn't it? But they're going to call off the hounds right now, Imperial. Config, and well, I guess Alexi's little position as Bolts will find the kill, and maybe they were hoping they could have pressured for that final frag, but not enough time. An AWP retained here for NiP to get thrown across. Their cache is in a little bit of a sketchy position now. You've got a couple of members who are hovering in suboptimal buy positions, but that is a really, really cheeky setup right there. Great trade from Fallen. I think this is, and look, I understand, I know that the only guns available, that's why they picked up the double AWPs, but it makes a player, especially like chelo, less versatile, right? Imagine if he had a rifle in that position. He could have committed for that frag.
Probably hits on a dig as well.
Yeah, so that is a little bit sucky, but it's not the end of the world. This game is still on, only 3 rounds the difference, and this will be more B pressure now.
Yeah, good to see how Alexi B handles the pressure coming his way. Seems like he's got something in mind as well to delay. They're going on this. Alexi's going to be calling for help. Holds the angle, holds the spray. Vinny down early. And it's Config as well to contribute. 2 already from the Ninja's defense and more to come. This is a flawless defense from the 2 of them. Even finding Jota's head, puts him on 10 HP. Finishes it with the nade. Brollan tapped into the communications and a clean defense. It does not get better than that.
Yeah, really well handled there. Great stuff, and it should see Imperial go into a bit more of a half buy. I say that, and maybe there's a bit of confidence to be found because those Tech 9s is one of the rounds that they got in recent history here. So it has been a spree 4, which was then broken by that Tech 9, and then 2 more now on the trot for the Ninjas. Just to note, Jota and Fallen, now on the CT side, they will be part of the mid-defensive pack, right? Fallen's AWP, as we discussed, like head trick, can find itself everywhere, but, you know, connect the window short. Predominantly places you'll see him win the early round. Jota and Chelo will be the short and connector players, and then you can have Bolts and Vinny on the extremities, locking down the A and the B bomb sites here. Still have a couple more rounds before we get there, and maybe that couple more rounds will be nice and quick. Brollan again from under the balcony. This is where he kicked off the half, and a double from head trick. Locks down 2. It's just going to be Vinny, last man standing, and coming from the underpass, maybe not detected just yet. Shouldn't be too long for the world as Config flobs a bit of a long-range spray. And you can see he wasn't happy with that one.
Yeah, no, I mean, happens to the best of us. Happens to the best of us. He's laughing now, but yeah. It never feels good. You know, you full commit, you had all the time in the world, but you just felt like, oh, maybe the spray is fine. The spray is fine. I just need to have one of the dings, one body shot.
I didn't like that very much. He's straight back into another AWP here.
I'm not a rifler anymore. I've changed my mind.
Yeah, this is the gun that, well, look, you can get 2 for 1. Yeah. Yeah, I'd be having a bit of a laugh too. Definitely not the end of the world.
Nah, 9 rounds on the CT side and perhaps more to follow. Let's see what this one has in store for us. As Rez going aggressive, flashed off, doesn't get any information, but it goes both ways. Vinny was behind the boxes at the time. And posturing B again. This was, don't forget, the perfect B defense last time around. They gave this a go. Nice. Procedural setup from Alexi. Does he go for the jump peek? This is what Fallen's hoping for. Alexi aware. Playing it very considered. Fallen desperate to try and catch him out on any of these info jiggles. You can see he's playing it so considered. Ah, there you go. Gets the info, gets away with it. Config summoned. And repelled with a smoke. Okay. I mean, that was more like a fishing trip.
Yeah, they went looking.
Yeah.
They definitely dipped the rod in the water. They got a bit of a nibble, but it wasn't what they were looking for. And Chelo's probably about to get a face full of lead here because he's quick changing and see you later, Alligator. Rez with the play through the underpass at about 45 seconds. You're not ready for that one whatsoever. Now scrambling Imperial.
Lovely off the flash. Still Jota adapts. Does hit the headshot, but one straight back. Vantage maintained. Alexi considering it. They might go for a triple swing here. Brollan swings out.
Alex, they're fighting them in middle with 30 seconds left on the clock. You're not even getting to a bomb site. NiP could have just turtled up, could have given them the room, could have summoned them into crossfires. They went, actually, you know what? We can just shoot them.
Yeah, guys, if you want to go home, the quicker we fight them, the quicker we can go.
And then we have we get a best of 3 later in the day, sure, but it's sunny outside, it's about 30 degrees, it's beautiful, the food's great. You hear they're waking up at 7 a.m. going for morning runs on the beach. NiP are loving life right now. They're living their best selves.
I mean, exactly. We know Rez is a gamer goblin like all of us, but the fact he's getting up at 6 a.m., sun shining, smiling. I think the way Yanko put it is, you know, the air changes when you qualify. Things feel a little, ooh, lovely from Config. Snaps into Jota and he's still hunting for it. That was ambitious. And it's been punished by Chelo, who's flying high for the boys. 4-on-4. What are you up to? Head trick, aggressive. Gets away with murder. Vinny looking the wrong way, not expecting a brazen peek like that out of the AWP. And everyone from NiP got the memo. This is our last round, and we're going to hit them with some pace.
They know they're better individually here, and I think it's showing right now in the CT half. 11-4, more than possible now. Brollan's flank onto Bolts will be coming in any moment here. Rez just has to stay alive. This round's done.
Yeah, unfortunately, unless you've got Bolts just hitting a swivel, Brollan hitting a config spray. Don't think that's happening. There you go. And a clean one into the side of the dome in perfect sequence of events that leads to a flawless defense. And there you have it, 11 in the bank. Ninjas in Pajamas looking to start strong here at IEM Rio 2023. Ninjas in Pajamas, fresh out of bed and they're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed as we start our day here in the first day of IEM Rio 2023 with a head-to-head. We've got two games running simultaneously. The Mongols taking on Natus Vincere. It looks like a close one going on the B stream. Check it out for yourself. Myself and Chatty B hanging out here with NiP, who've got themselves 11 up against just 4 from Imperial. We swap sides onto the defense for the last-minute addition and hometown heroes, who certainly do seem like they're a little in too deep. NiP,
look at those odds.
Thriving, and in one expert, doubting Imperial.
Yeah, 2 of the key rounds that Imperial picked up in that first half were through Bolts finding some great entries out of the palace position, but other than that, all for naught. So we do turn our attention to what should be a bit of an A split here. So Util limped out over towards the connector position, and that will draw Config and Rez to get a bit of a boost going on into this window position. And you smell that? That's an entry frag for Config right here. Bullet to the back of the dome, and they'll accelerate in towards Vinny's position. He's stuck towards Ticker behind the smoke, looking for a little bit of something.
He could have got it as well, but Lexi very patient, very hesitant to go through first. Nice catch onto Config. getting away. Brollan clean on the P250. The equalizer in these long-range engagements. Rez makes it work with the Glock onto chelo. And yeah, limited options. Vinny just has to hit some headies. Brollan's gone too, and that opportunity with Alexi B. His bright dome shining a little too bright at the top of the box, falling with the elevation. Maybe another click could be coming through. Vinny trying to tidy up, and now is he ready for the range of Rez?
USP, this is perfect for Rez right now.
He's got one of his own. Hello, adding a little sketchy. That 2v4 goes one-on-one.
Yeah, it looks close. I think that NiP maybe getting a little bit overzealous in some of the fights they're taking. Very confident that they can just out-duel Imperial here, and that's going to be both pistols going in the favor of NiP, and we can return to how we started coming back from the break, talking about Mongols versus Na'Vi, because the winner of this matchup right here will be taking on the winner of, well, that respective game later today in a best-of-3. And whoever wins that match will already be locked in for the playoffs here at IEM Rio for 2023. So a lot on the line coming up later today. Yeah. The loser, of course, will play against the loser of that matchup, right? So most likely we see Imperial versus Mongols. Now, we don't want to spoil the result. If you want to find out, twitch.tv/ISL_CSGO_B. Bang. Too easy, isn't it? And here's the issue. And look, I don't besmirch Imperial for this. This is different teams' approaches. But in both halves...
Sorry, panicking. Okay, well, he's gotten nothing from that one. Nice catch from Rez before things did spiral and a weapon baby just started to burrow out of Palace and behind enemy lines. But yeah, it's just Jota. And as you were saying, Chad.
When you look at the buying pattern, and I understand on the T side, you see teams do it more so when they... Nice kiss in the smoke right there. They do go for a bit more on the T side when they got the plant, as opposed to not getting the plant and then going for that full eco, right? Now, in both halves, Imperial, after losing pistol, have conceded and opted to start basically 4-0 down, right, because they're not choosing to force buy, which, like I said, I'm not going to besmirch them for. That's the way they want to approach. But I remember I had this problem back when I was in-game leading for Renegades. Like, Azza would always be like, no, let's force buy, let's fight, let's show that like we can aim just as good as these guys. And I was more of like a by-the-book kind of, okay, I want the full buy.
Opportunity
I would like full utility, yeah. I'd like all the rifles. But at the same time, like, there's a reason that force buys can get so much done. Now, look, the buying system, as far as the loss bonus, was different back when I was playing. And now you get a little bit more money. So you can justify that decision a little bit more. But to concede that puts so much more pressure on where you're going right now. And you can see here that B stream, 11-9 in favor of Na'Vi.
Great to see Blitz has not lost anything. He's just still an absolute high flyer.
He's great, isn't he? He's great. Techno as well. Those are two very, very solid players over there for the Mongols. But this round right here for Imperial, this is the game, right? If there's no resistance here, we may as well pack her up.
All right, well, pack it up, pack it in. Config begins.
Yeah, this kid's cream.
Lovely on the Mac 10. He had cash for more, but just wanted to charge and perhaps exploit some of those unarmored heads. Couple of just careful our vest purchases here for the CTs.
Bolts is about to be in a lot of trouble towards B here as well.
Yeah, I mean, he'll probably play the fade. Jota, that is.
Yeah, well, they both are hoping for something here.
And slipping away, so as you discussed.
Look at Bolts on an island. He needs 2 kills minimum. He needs 2 kills on his own right now.
Now would be perfect. Yes. Yeah, no. Brollan has found and thrown a heavy blow.
And now how do you retake this? You know config was middle. You know config was mid, so you can't push through mid. He's found himself into the M4. What are you meant to do? You want to retake into B after losing the site on one player? Because the thing is, if you're closer, you can respond and you can constrict just how much room NiP can take. But when Bolts goes down on his own, they push in, they can completely smoke off, they can get in towards market, they can push short, they can do whatever they want. And right now, it will be that save. And, well, NiP know this. Right? It's like, we can let them hold on to these rifles. It doesn't matter. It was way too easy. This was the opener, blind, Mac 10, dead. Turned into your death right there, Chelo. And, well, Bolt's committed to that first kill, and Brollan will deal with it. There it is.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you can't...
This is brutal.
You can't really be too critical of Imperial at this point because they are just truly being outclassed by the ninjas in pajamas. I think they are at a real high point at the moment for this roster of 5. And getting to play Mirage up against Imperial. It is also standing out to me, that observation you made about the Mirage games and how all of them had been against domestic opponents as opposed to an EU team. So NiP is so easy, licking their lips.
It makes it so easy to go for that if you're NiP. And the results aren't even that great.
Yeah.
You know, they're okay. That's the thing. If you're only measuring against domestic opponents, you know, you haven't even really been tested. So it's a no-brainer here for NiP. love this here. You've got Rez working the B apartments, Brollan as your A player, and then you have the pack of Alexi, Config, and Headtrick to get your map control towards middle. And this is the thing. There was never any question with NiP in terms of the individuals and the firepower. It was just it looked so scattered. It looked like the players weren't on the same page. And this is one of the conversations that you need to have with your teammates. You need to, you really do. You need to.
Oh, that is unreasonable. Rez jiggles out bolts on what should be a guarantee. If you do have someone committing through the B apartments, that leads to nothing but despair.
Look at what it's drawn.
Yeah.
Vinny and Jota both gambling over towards B right now to bolster Chelo. Fallen playing retake O towards Ticket. There's a minute left on the clock right now, and Alexi playing in this very key component of middle can orchestrate where he wants this to be a finish. And if they just link up through connector, it's basically an open runway right now.
Unless Fallen and his M4A1S can deliver a multi-kill that feels compulsory at this point. Vinny's going to be denied by the Flames, cannot provide any support as they do time it perfectly through the connector. 4 members of Ninjas in Pajamas barreling towards an isolated Fallen. Jota trying to help, lovely find from Fallen. Now with the Flames subsided, he can have that Org support. And Alexi unable to provide too much with the hold from that Org. He's got 20 HP, they're getting the shots, getting the frags. It can't quite come down to Brollan. I thought Jota was going to finish it right there and then. Still grounds for a little bit of excitement. Yeah. Okay, chelo locks it in. And an important round to find. Chelo with the triple.
That smoke was great though, wasn't
it?
Yeah, it had the gap. It was perfectly timed. Well placed. Good teamwork there from Imperial. I thought they were completely out of position. So great stuff there to be able to pull it back. And NiP, that's probably the first frustrating round they've really had. There's been a couple of frustrating deaths. There it is. You see the smoke plume. Has multiple avenues there to look for finds up and over, little gaps around it. Okay, well, now you're going to see NiP bring out all the stops. See if they can close this one down and keep it single digits for Imperial here as Fallen's Famine sounds off through the smoke. Tasty prospect for a fight as Brollan finds some damage on Vinny, who has to fire back here. It's good information to understand that the defensive setup on the A site is more forward currently. But it hasn't spurred NiP forward with any decision just yet. Still in this default spread, the 1-3-1.
Yeah, Chelo and Jota with this crossfire for the mid-hold. We will see that just dribble of utility exchange. CT and T smoke towards connector, but nothing really in the friction department.
Brollan has a molly here, so let's see if he uses this towards the dark position, which is where Vinny currently resides. Vinny does not have a smoke available, so he will need, well, I was going to say a flash from a teammate. There are no flashes from teammates, and luckily he's moved here, so this is well thought out from Vinny.
Up this close with that Org.
Half-life on this smoke is almost over as well.
Config's holding it. Yeah, distracted just upon the fade. Config bests him, and that's a nasty death for Vinny. Starting to pull these teeth now. Heading into the site. Fallen needing impact on just the FAMAS, and that Brollan fight's not going to be easy against the AK, and Alexi B's is working just as well. 20 seconds. Going to be hard to stop that plant. Fallen, Chelo, helpless. Bolts from short as well. Does chip further away. In fact, through the smoke onto Alexi. But options just seem like there's no good option in this round. I mean, like, saving sucks. Going for a retake and losing all your guns sucks. And so this one, yeah, just petering out.
It sucks when you're getting owned. There's nothing, and you feel helpless. What are you meant to do? Like in those, how many options does Vinny have in that scenario? And yeah. I don't hate the choice that he went for right there, because it likely would have got caught in transition back. You saw the execute. They would have found him regardless.
What do you reckon's the game of the day today, Chad?
Oh, in the best of ones?
In the best of ones. We got
if I'm going to be honest, I would say that the one that has the likelihood of being game of the day is probably Furia Fnatic, even though Furia are the favorites there in my mind. But I would like to say that Heroic 9 has a lot of potential.
It does,
because the way 9's victory at the RMRs to go like a 3-0 clean sweep, right? Not only just the best of ones, oh, that's great, but the best of 3 victory, it's legit, right? And if 9 can continue to build on that, and we can see more out of them here, that's great news for not only, well, Hades and Co., but Polish Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
Plus it's against Heroic. We always love watching Heroic play.
Dead. Oh, Brollan! He That was mad. 2 into the site. Give him a third. Bolts denies.
Pack it up.
Yeah, this one is absolutely donezo. Cooked medium rare is Bolts and only chelo. There's the 16-5 secure. That's domination stations. NiP waking up and absolutely starting with a bang. An explosion as they put themselves in the upper semis of Group A. A great start and waiting to see who they'll be facing between Na'Vi and the Mongols.
Good confidence building win right here for NiP, building on that performance of just a couple days ago.